Traditionally, the story of commons has been synonymous with tragedy, but people have managed to rewrite this story. Common property resources are shared natural resources owned and managed collectively by a group rather than by individuals, with norms laid down to regulate its usage. This is one such common story of a commons in the 21st century, the story of a lagoon. Through decades of customary use by the fishermen, the lagoon became commonized. Fishes were in abundance, and the families that relied on these fishes for livelihood and security were content for decades. Let us understand how. There were 4 different groups of families living in the region. They were all fishermen by occupation. They excluded other non-fishermen from fishing from the lagoon. They defined amongst themselves the rules that they were to follow. Each group would fish in different areas, use different fishing techniques, fish for different types of catch and in different seasons. And they wouldn't do this in isolation. Let's meet them, shall we? But how did they form these rules or ensure that they were all agreed upon? Here is the village-level society that provided guidance and monitored fishery-related issues. They were helped by the village assembly. Here is the Fishers' Federation that was a pressure group. Then there was the Central Society that acted as the apex organization. The state leased out all demarcated fishing area to the central cooperatives, who then gave it to the primary cooperatives. Until there was a steady increase in the global consumer demand for prawn. This led to high prices, luring many countries to export prawn. As this happened, prawn that previously had little value now became pink gold. The state declared some areas as protected areas. The process of decommunization had begun. The state increased the annual lease fee by 30%. The state also leased out fishing areas of the lagoon to non-fishing communities. The process of privatization had begun. Therefore, customary fishing areas were either unaffordable or were lost to corporate arrangements. The corporates, with their profit incentives, started exploiting the lagoon, whereas the traditional fisher communities were struggling to fish in limited areas. With less fishing areas came less catch and thereby less income. More and more fishermen started engaging in other occupations. Fraught with these burdens, the fishermen saw no way out but to protest against the state actions. Seeing no result, they decided to approach the court of law. After a prolonged legal battle, prawn aquaculture was banned. The court had ruled for the commons. Despite the court's ruling, encroachment continued. Fishermen began to sublease their fishing areas to outsiders who used them for prawn aquaculture. Fishfed as an apex organization was created, but it killed local decision-making. There are always multiple actors that influence access to commons. So we need to ask the questions. Who has power and control? Who is making the decisions? Whose rights and entitlements? The outcomes of the story would depend on whether the actors understand the factors that could lead to protection or degradation of a shared resource and adapt themselves to support the protection.